Please stand for the pledge and prayer.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Oh God, we thank you for the opportunity, privilege we have to assemble in freedom as we have here this evening. Thank you for the sacrifice of many that have made this possible. We ask you to lead, guide, and direct the proceedings, that the decisions that are made be pleasing in your sight, beneficial to the people of our area. We pray in Jesus' name, amen. Amen. Note for the record that all members are present. Thank you for being here this evening, and we have a set of minutes from our meeting which was held on January the 6th. Are there any questions or adjustments recommended for the minutes?
Mr. Chairman, move to adopt as presented.
Second.
Proper motion is second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries, and that is approved. I think James probably provided everybody with a copy of this, contact information for everybody, so hopefully that'll be helpful. We have a couple of items on our agenda tonight. First is a final plat review for the Cherry Street subdivision for Nathan Lindsay. Do we have representatives here who want to give us an update on where you are?
This is Jeffrey with Davis Engineering.
Glad to have you, sir.
Yep. Jeffrey with Davis Engineering, representing Nathan Lindsay for final plat approval, Cherry Street. 32 lots, sewer and water is in. The detention pond is built, and it's built as we had discussed a few months ago. As-bills have been submitted to James. I believe he's satisfied with those. The bill of assurances were delivered yesterday, I believe. Have we got any questions?
James, any concerns you have at all with anything?
Well, the bill of assurance was not delivered when it was supposed to. Our ordinance says 90 days ahead of time, so that you can review that. Other than that, he's taken that everything else.
If I remember correctly, hasn't the municipal league already ruled though that we can't enforce the bill of assurance, correct? I mean, it's between landowners if they have a dispute.
We do have an ordinance now that bill of assurance has to be provided for a final plat.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, specifically, that ordinance is 2024-24. It does say that, and Mr. Lindsay, being a member of the council, did vote without question, or, there was no question on that. There was a unanimous vote on that, December of 2024. So I don't know if he just missed that or what, but I don't think the municipal league actually stated anything about us asking for the bill of insurance. I think it was just specific to enforcement of it.
So is the intent of the new ordinance that you described for us to recommend changes to the bill of assurance, that sort of thing, or just to have one on file?
I'm not going to recommend anything about that other than what we've got written within that ordinance itself that amended the original subdivision book that we've got that added that whole section to it that says they have to submit it 90 days prior. Now,
What does it say the downside is if they don't, or does it?
well, have you read the bill of assurance that they submitted? It's 70 pages long. I got it last night. I haven't had a chance to review it. I mean, it's...
Mr. Chairman, if they don't submit a bill of assurance, it's basically an unregulated development.
I'm not suggesting that. All I'm trying to figure out is what are we legally obligated to do since they didn't submit one? That's what I don't know the answer to.
We got some options. First of all, the interpretation that we've got for the municipal league is more toward the enforcement and not toward the actual asking for one. And without Mr. Grice here, I don't think there's any other way, you know, we don't have any further interpretation on that.
Right.
But as I said, it's 70 pages long. Did any of you folks even look at it? I mean, I went through it as far as I could. And a lot of it, you know, is redundant or irrelevant. So, I don't know. I mean,
Well, I suppose as any topic, we have the right to approve, deny, or table, you know.
well,
I'm
that would
open-minded.
that would be a consideration. I did want to have one discussion about the pond, though, before we get too far.
Sure.
From what I understand, and remind me again, that pond is not part of the actual plat or the phase one. That Mr. Lindsay said he was gonna maintain the rights and the maintenance on that pond after this subdivision, correct?
The bill of assurance is for the 32 lots and the homes that we built on the 32 lots. The pond is actually falls outside the bounds of the 32 lots.
That's what I'm referring to on the final plat. It's not part of the final plat, but it's being referred to because we had asked for retention. And what I saw, and Mr. Breckenridge had, from what I understand, Kyle, you'd looked at that pond. That pond met the specifications, correct? For the on,
I think the last I heard, I think if you built the overflow.
yeah.
Yes.
It's got the two-step weir on it and overflow and all that. But it's not part of this subdivision, but we'd asked for it for the total ground. So this is his first addition in anticipation of continued building on that. Am I correct?
As far as I know,
They ran the numbers, it was only required for the part they owned, so all the undeveloped property they owned was, modeled as fully developed.
Okay, all right. So, but you don't know if he's gonna retain the ownership and maintenance on that pond after?
I do not know as of this time what his plan is for
Okay.
the rest of it, but we were required to design the pond for full development, and that's.
Okay,
That's what
and that's what it looks like, and it looks like it meets that need. So what does this commission want to do about this bill of assurance? I haven't had a chance to read it. I mean, I read through it as fast as I could last night, this morning, but there's a lot of detail that, you know, you gotta kind of look into a little bit. Some of it just doesn't apply. And it was written by D.R. Horton, or for D.R. Horton. So if D.R. Horton doesn't take over the property after it's developed, does it even apply? So,
Well, we have the total right, I suppose, to, if folks aren't comfortable with it, and tabling it until we have more time to review it. If that's the will of the commission, I'm flexible.
I mean, that's the only question I had on that one. And everything else looked, you know, it met the code. Everything else meets the code.
James, have you had a chance to look at the bill of assurance in detail yet or not?
I've not been able to read through it yet.
I mean, we can take this up next month if you want. I mean, we're gonna push him into the building season if we do that, or into the final season there. He's got everything just about ready to go on that. I mean, it's met the minimums. They're probably anxious to get going, so.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
as far as the water department is concerned, were they tied to sewer, and Jeffrey, I don't know if you know this or not, but were they tied to sewer into our existing main? They pulled the invert backwards, and so I know,
There was one on that.
Bill Pearson had told me that they had worked on it and fixed it, but I personally have not inspected it. So it could be fine.
Right.
There was something on that. Kyle, you put something in there about the distance between the hydrants on that. You noted that it was 545 feet, if I remember right. And they need to be no more than,
I think that was for, is that for Cherry Street?
yeah, Cherry Street.
Yeah, I think they changed all that on the final, they addressed all the comments
Okay.
on their final revision.
I didn't see a response sheet on that, so that's all I saw, was you noted that the distance on the fire hydrant, so that's been taken care of. And then the sewer mains were addressed, as Tommy just said.
I don't know that we verified that in the field. We can look at the as-built that have all the hydrants on them. Verify that it was built according to plan as far as hydrant spacing.
Okay.
Other questions, comments, concerns?
Well, what other options do we have? I mean, I hate to slow them down, but at the same time, we can't approve something that we haven't read through. So,
I mean, that's kind of the purpose of the 90 days. I mean, we can table it if we choose to, bring it up next month. I mean, that 30 days would be more than enough to do that. But, you know, that's quite the bill of assurance. So,
yeah.
I just
Yeah,
have-
they've been typically, what, 2 or 3 pages, 10 maybe?
Yeah, 2 or 3 pages, but this is 70 pages.
And to go back to what you said earlier with it being D.R. Horton's name on it, that's,
Well, they were the ones that provided with the anticipation that D.R. Horton would be doing the building out. there,
Correct,
Which
but-
makes sense, but if something were to change between now and then,
right.
you know, then it's gonna.
I would
And remember,
assume-
we're still required, there's still a requirement to file it within 6 months after we sign the final plat with the county records there. And we're gonna have to get that added to the final plat too.
So would an alternative be to approve the final plat with reserving approval for the bill of assurance until,
You mean like a
Our next-
preliminary approval or, I don't know.
I don't, you said they got 6 months to file it, so.
Well, our ordinance says they have to give it to us 90 days prior for us to review. And then, once we approve the final plat, then they have 6 months to record it. You know, the final plat. with
And
the
if we
bill
got
of
it
assurance.
yesterday legally, if I'm interpreting what you're telling me correctly, we should not approve it for 89 days. That
We
seems,
can always go
that seems
short on
really
that.
long to me.
We can always go short on that if we have an opportunity to review it.
I think, and the best thing to do is what you suggested a minute ago. I mean, and the only option that I see is to table it to the next meeting. That's the fairest thing we can do to not hold them up, but at the same time, give us a chance to review it.
Yeah. And as I said earlier, I mean, Mr. Lindsay did have an opportunity to speak on this December of 2024 when ordinance came up, and I don't see any discussion at all within that ordinance being put out there, so. He was a member of the council at that time, so.
Someone wish to make a motion on this one? Warren?
I'll
I
make
moved
a
I moved to table until the March meeting.
Motion and a second to table this request until the next meeting pending review, our review of the
Bill of assurance.
Bill of assurance, yes.
Mr. Chair, speaking of the March meeting, there's going to be voting going on in March.
We need to, it needs to be the second. Second.
We can take that up at
Yeah.
the final.
Okay, we got a motion on the floor and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay, that's tabled. Let's handle item 7, and I agree, we'll need to think about what to do then. Next item on our agenda is a preliminary plat review for Wynwood Meadows, LaRusse Holdings. If we have a representative here tonight, feel free to. Yes, sir, you're recognized.
Yes, sir. Good evening. Hey, Eric Richardson, Richardson Engineers, representing LaRousse Holdings. We were here, I don't know, a month or two ago, and were approved for a rezone for this property. You all probably remember, it's about 6 acres, I believe, of like 17 acres there that LaRousse owns. We're proposing a development on the high ground there next to the road. A little bit of that property gets into the floodplain. You can kind of see on the south part of that drawing there, you can kind of see where it touches the floodplain. And so we're proposing a little bit of fill there. And I do realize that the city of Beebe is sensitive to flooding areas. We understand that. There may be a little bit of disconnect or a little bit of miscommunication between us and maybe code enforcement or engineering, but kind of want to get everybody on the same page tonight. So, of course, we turned in, after the rezone approval, we turned in engineering drawings, and my understanding, city engineering and our engineers worked together, and all the plans look great. There was a little bit of disconnect. I think the city had asked for a cloma, and this FEMA stuff kind of gets, there's a lot out there, but we do what we call a LOMR a lot. LOMR is letter of map revision. I know you all know a lot of this, but we typically do a LOMR based on fill. So if we're not in a floodway, so we've got floodplain, we've got floodway. Floodway is regulated floodway, which there's a whole different permitting process for intruding on the floodway. That's tough to do. We've done it on some big creeks, but man, that's a lot. That's where we hire a firm like FTN or somebody to come in and run the big hydrological models and do all the work. It's a whole process. It takes a year or two. It's a big deal. FEMA has already studied the floodplain area. They've modeled all of it. There's a permitting process that takes place for the floodplain. We don't touch the floodplain. And they understand that you may fill in the floodplain, and there's a permitting process in place for that. It's pretty simple. We do it all the time. Place fill, come back, shoot that fill, turn it into FEMA. They say, okay, yes, we've studied this area. Here, we've looked at your fill. Yes, we give you a permit. We're going to remove this from the floodplain. You're no longer in the floodplain, certified by a surveyor. You have an elevation certificate. You're good. Now, floodway, whole different ballgame. It goes back to FEMA. It's highly regulated. They model it. They run everything. Yeah, we might let you do it. No, we may not. And if you do it, sometimes you've got to come back and build a pond or a lake to offset that volume. But outside of that floodway, again, a floodplain, that's already been studied. That volume can be impacted, but it must be permitted. So typically how we go about this is we'll design the subdivision. We've got some proposed fill there. It's not a lot. It's just on the south end there, just so they can recoup those few lots. And so there'd be I think it's about 3 foot above the floodplain elevation there. So we would add that, and then after the fill is placed, go out, shoot it, have a surveyor certify it, turn in the application to FEMA, it gets approved. Never been denied, not one time. Now, that's totally outside the engineering plans, really. That's just a permit. It's a FEMA permit or something basically just to keep the developer from paying flood insurance or whoever buys that from paying flood insurance. That's all it is about. It's a flood insurance rate study map. Not impacting the floodway. It's just in the floodplain. It's an insurance deal. That's all it is. That's different than the drainage calculations. It's different than impeding the flow somewhere. So we try to make sure that we look at any creeks that we may be impacting, anything like that. So I'm saying all that to say, I think there may have been a little bit of a disconnect.
I think there is a disconnect. I'll go ahead and speak to that.
Sure.
So our concern is that it's not about the LOMRF. Yeah, that's no problem. If you prove that you're above base flood elevation, FEMA will revise the map and take those lots out of the floodplain.
To get it above.
The problem is, there's a and I gave you a copy of this.
That's the existing.
So there is no floodway in the area. The floodway is only gonna be like a larger stream. These are all just tributaries, but they are mapped with a base flood elevation. They're filling in this very narrow, right here at the bottom, and then along, there's also fill up along the east side of that proposed development. So all that fill is gonna be impacting the storage volume of that kind of narrow floodplain of that tributary. And regulations require the floodplain administrator, you can't, if it's in a floodway, you can't increase the elevation at all. And if it's in the floodplain with no established floodway, as in this case, you can't increase the elevation by more than 1 foot. Well, there's no way to verify that unless you model it. It would be, you know, if it wasn't, if you were like impacting 1% of a big wide floodplain, it might be a different story, kind of common sense, you're like, yeah, it's not gonna have enough of an effect. Here, you can see the gradient. I mean, you're talking about 1 foot in this narrow floodway. If you look up, you know, the base flood rises 1 foot within just a few hundred feet. So it's a very narrow, very sharp gradient. Any fill downstream of that is gonna have an effect upstream. How much? I don't know. Probably not enough to need a an actual Clomar, but you have to prove that you're not increasing that base flood by more than 1 foot. And that's not what's done. That's the issue. So it's not the low RF that we're concerned about. It's the fact that you're filling into a narrow
Yeah.
floodplain and what's gonna happen upstream.
So what do you propose to satisfy that? You guys want the
I mean,
Cloma?
the easiest thing would be to take out any fill or do, I mean, I've seen compensatory storage done, you know, that you have the same amount of storage in that area as you did before, but it would require offsetting that fill.
Yeah.
Or you just narrow the lights or whatever you need to do to take that fill
Yeah.
out of that.
Have you by chance been able to bring in our drawings and overlay them and see how much because it looks like we're kind of on top of the hill.
You've got existing contours on there, and you can see the existing 220. That would be the outline of this. Well,
Nah,
you'd have to
yeah.
use 221 on the north side and 220 on the south side. But if your proposed contours are over that, then you're still in the area.
But you weren't able to kind of bring that in and see. Let's see here. And the reason I say that is we may be close to not being in that area, since we're up on top of the hill there. And I think that we're okay with, I mean, the developer owns 17 acres. I don't think they'd mind creating some volume to displace whatever we're offsetting there. I don't think they'd mind doing that at all. In fact, they've already said something about cleaning it up downstream where the beavers had dammed up some area by the railroad tracks or something to that effect. I don't know if that's something that the city would entertain.
Yeah,
Because
I mean,
I don't think
it's gonna
we're-
be hard to, if you're modifying the width of the floodplain and you're not taking that fill out of the other side, you're still gonna be potentially restricting that flow. Like I said, it's probably not gonna impact it by a foot, but,
Yeah,
I mean, his job as floodplain administrator is to make sure you're adhering by the flood insurance program and you don't get kicked out, so I don't think anybody.
James, you want to make any comments? I mean,
Well, I'm the one that's gonna issue the permit for this development in the floodplain.
yeah.
And my meeting, I had meetings with our engineer that represents us, and we felt like the Clomar was the thing to do.
And I'm okay with that, guys. We're not at all saying, let's not do a Clomer. And the whole goal with the meeting tonight was, I think the request early on from our office was, hey, since we've got the engineering plans approved and we're rezoned, everything looks good except for the Clomer, can we go ahead and get approved contingent so that if we submit for this Clomer and it's 2.5 months getting it back, if it falls on a day that's right after the submittal date, it doesn't cost us a month on getting back in. If the city wants it, the city has the right to allow it. So if you call FEMA, they're gonna tell you, we don't typically do Clomers unless you're in the floodway. However, city official can require it. It's allowed.
We've
And,
got two engineers here on either side of it, but as a practical matter, if they provide us with a Clomar, it means that FEMA has looked at this and basically said, okay.
I don't disagree with that.
so,
And then that will allow me to go ahead and issue the development permit for the project.
Yeah,
They can't do anything until that permit gets, even if you do a condition tonight,
that's right.
they won't be able to do anything until that development permit.
So are you comfortable with what I understood him to suggest as an alternative in a conditional approval of the preliminary pending receipt of this report from FEMA
I want to see the Clomar.
before?
As a prerequisite for issuing the development, permit.
And the
So you'd rather us not do a preliminary pending that, because you might not.
So do you have
That's
to,
totally up to you. I mean, you could do it, okay, depending on getting the Clomar.
yeah, and that's all we're asking. So we'll get the Clomer, I mean, that's not an issue.
But they won't be able to do anything until we get the Clomar back from FEMA.
That's right,
Do
except
you
for,
think you're gonna really get or you think you'll get a Clomar? I mean, it may not require a Clomar, but I think FEMA's gonna require the model to prove that you're not impacting upstream flood. I don't see how you're gonna get something from FEMA without providing.
we've never been asked by FEMA to do that. Typically, they do the model, run their own model, and tell us what they want to see. We've never been asked.
I've had to submit swim models for improving drainage
Yeah,
to FEMA, so I
we've,
mean.
yeah, to date, we've not asked that.
I've had to show the numbers.
Now, if they ask for it, they ask for it. If that's what the city's asking for, then we'll have to get a model. And that's
So
gonna be
there-
hiring somebody like
If this is gonna take, you said 2 months or more to get back, is that what I'm hearing?
We have no idea. We've never been required to do, out of all the years of engineering and loamers and fills that we've done, we've never done a Clomer, not one. Now, one of our guys did reach out, finally got an answer from FEMA. I think he said 60 days. But I couldn't promise, and their timelines are always tentative. But we were thinking, look, while it's fresh and on everybody's minds, why don't we go ahead and just ask for approval contingent, and we don't get to start if you don't get the Clomer? I don't see what it's kind of a win-win. I mean, it's us working together, meeting in the middle.
Unless you have to revise the fill, like, if you have to just come back and take all that fill out and resubmit, it will change.
What's that? What's that?
Unless you have to revise the drawings to accommodate,
Yeah.
to basically take out the,
Yeah.
you can't get it from FEMA and approval, then I'm assuming you come back, take those lots out.
I mean, they can't lose lots and make money. We'll have to do something different. I mean, I guess, worst case that, or make some adjustments, whatever FEMA requires. But if you're okay with that, that's a construction adjustment. I mean, and during construction adjustment to me, if we're just changing some stuff up on the plans for you. Still pending your approval before we can start construction.
How many,
I think it's
how many lots are we talking about?
24. It's just a scheduling thing. I think it's, if we were to get that back, why not approve it now? Because if we get that back and it's just after a submittal date, now it costs the developer another month of lost revenue and construction. That's the only thing we were trying to avoid.
There's only 4 of them it's.
There's only 4 of them that's not there.
Correct.
Yeah.
Can I throw something out? I don't know.
Sure, you can, sir.
Please catch me up. Has it already been for the Food City Council to rezone this?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, all right. My apologies, I've been informed.
No problem.
Okay. How many of you live in Wynwood?
None of us live in Wynwood.
Only one?
Yeah.
Only one, okay.
Let me speak on behalf of what Mr. Sexton's trying to get at. You all remember the flood about 15 years ago when April and Tory Lane was underwater. That 220 elevation, that's the number we need to be looking at. That's what hit us.
I was living in Wynwood at that.
Yeah, that's what hit us. Look at how much of this is in that 220 right now, and how much is right up against it. Now, that water in, what was that, 2006, 2007, was it 2007? 2008, so that flood that we had back then, most of that water came from the south and backed up. It wasn't coming down this channel here.
I heard it was beaver dams.
It was beaver dams, it was the railroad and all that stuff.
Well, didn't the railroad close off a?
Yeah, well.
It had dirt,
they
they changed it to
allowed
rock, it
a
came
dorm-
through the rock, that's what I was.
They allowed a dorm to persist, a dam to persist there.
Yeah.
But that water there backed up, nobody took care of it, we had that serious flood, several homes were lost and all that. 220 is the number that we need to be looking at, because that could happen again. Now, yeah, that was a 50-year flood or something back then, that was 4 days of rain and all that caused that. But,
To my knowledge, there is nobody come up with a plan, a resolution to stop beavers from coming up in there and doing it over and over and over again.
Right, we've
If
got,
you guys got that plan, you need to tell the rest of the world.
we've got serious outflow issues there and some other places that we need to be thinking about. If the water can come in without retention, detention, or diversion, you know, it's gonna happen, but it's even worse if we can't get it out of there, and that's what happened.
Nonchalantly, just
Mr.,
approve it and say, let's just go on. Right as we approach.
wait a sec, wait a sec,
Year.
we're not, we'll recognize you in a minute, we'll get to public, but let me ask you this.
Yes, sir.
When LaRousse Holdings came in here, when Nathan Prus came in here,
Yes, sir.
he talked about all the land that he owns out there, and we'd actually had a discussion about him trying to help channelize some of that water and move it, continue to move it toward the bayou that's farther south there.
Sure.
Has any of that been discussed? Because that would have a major impact on all that water down there.
To be honest with you, we've just been waiting on this meeting to see if we're approved to move forward. I don't think they're gonna do
Well,
anything.
no, that, one shouldn't be the other. He already mentioned that he controlled all that land out there.
Yeah.
He was gonna use that land to access and bring in the fill dirt and all that stuff.
Oh, that's
During the rezone meeting, he did allude to, he was willing to make adjustments to the rest of this property
Yes.
to accommodate for any
If he's
problems that
truly
this would develop.
willing to move some of that dirt and actually create some channelized outflow, I think it'd go a long ways for everybody out there. The people that are having the biggest heartache with this are the ones that are aware of the flooding, and the impact that that flooding has. The traffic is another issue, we'll have to address that, but that's something that,
Sure.
that we've already taken up, but the flooding is gonna continue. And that's why we're really pushing for improvements on the flood zone.
Yes, sir, understandably. So if it helps put anybody at ease, there is stormwater detention on this site, which would take care of anything that's added to from the infrastructure. And then, of course, we are impacting the flooding area by a little bit, by the shaded area there, which is very little. But I don't think it would be a big ask for the developer to dig some holes or do something to offset
He's
that.
gonna have to get that fill dirt from somewhere, and if it's usable,
There you go,
you know, I know he's got a big back end scraper there.
yeah. So I don't think it's a big ask of him to modify that, to balance it, what the impact is.
All right. Why don't you give Mr. Sexton an opportunity?
Channel, the drainage channel, I thought that was all ASU farm.
He's got a lot of property to the south, all that across the tracks. I think there's a ton of property over there that's his, and then this 17 acres is his.
That whole open field.
Is that if you fill on one side of that floodplain and you don't remove it on the other, you're still potentially changing the upstream effects. Because even if you remove it downstream, it's not gonna change what happens upstream. And that's where I think a little bit of disconnect is.
Well-
Because if you look at the existing contours, all that east line is filled. There's still over 220 from the south side, which is the biggest amount, all the way up the east side to the north side of the property.
Yeah.
Well, just what's outside the floodplain line, right, which isn't a lot. If it's that shaded area up there, it's not much.
It's got,
You have to look at the existing contour. The
Yeah.
shaded area, I mean, on the submitted, plans that we have, you
Yeah.
look at 220, he's got it molded, and you can see the amount of fill, on the east side.
Yeah,
It's minimal in some areas.
yeah.
I don't see it on this map, but what I'm hearing you saying, you correct me if I'm wrong, is that if you fill in the shaded areas here, there's not very much width to the floodplain there, which means all the water's gonna flow through a narrow area, is that what you're saying?
Correct, especially along the east side as you move north.
Yeah.
That channel is all ASU farmland on the
Yeah.
other side, so they're only gonna fill on one side, they can't take any off the other side, so the floodplain width is gonna decrease right there.
It looks like here we get into it just a little bit, on the east side, but I would propose just making it a little bit deeper in that channel. Volume's volume, right? Why don't we just take it down out there?
You bring it to 220?
Sounds like it on part of it, maybe.
I mean, I think that'd be a good solution. I'd be glad to recommend that.
Yeah, and that was the other thing I was gonna point out. Now, you got it raised, the bottom, lots there, which would be 13 through 16. You've got those bottom corners of them brought up to 222. Okay, so that's just 2 feet above that
Yes.
existing,
Yes, sir.
be it base flood.
Yes, sir. So FEMA's requirement's 1 foot out. We typically, well, actually FEMA doesn't have a requirement. As long as you're out, you're out. We like to go 2 feet. Most cities require 1 or 2 feet. BB's most likely 2, I would assume.
Freeboard is two.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the minimum down there. And so if you've got, and that channel, I know there's a lot of water that comes down that channel and where it collects from. It collects all the way from Center Street and north of Center Street there. And it comes past the schools, past the farmland, all that.
But I agree with Kyle. I would propose it looks like, based on our drainage sheet here, I can see the line, and it does look like we're getting over into it, probably, maybe 40 feet. I mean, maybe not even a quarter of a lot, 30 feet, but it does look like we're impeding on it a little bit. Why don't we take that down deeper out there? We can't go wider because it's not our property, but just make it a little deeper. Dredge
Make it
out a little
deeper.
bit. And offset that volume. I'd be glad to request developer does that. I don't think they'd mind with the equipment they'll have out there at the time.
And I think, I'm not speaking for anybody but me, I think our issue is we just need to make sure that our engineer and
Yeah.
James are comfortable.
And I get that, and we don't want to flood either, guys. We don't want to flood anybody else either. That's our worst nightmare as engineers. I don't want anything flooding.
Yeah, and really, we're not here for anybody but the citizens of
Sure,
Beebe and
that's right.
representing the city itself, who's gonna have to take responsibility if something goes wrong.
Sure.
So that's who we have to watch out for.
Understandably.
And at least in my experience here, we're usually not inclined to, if we have an engineer's opinion or if they're concerned, it's unlikely that this body would overrule an engineer. I'm not speaking for everybody here, but I'm not an engineer. So, when there's doubt, I'm gonna be
Sure.
cautious.
So Kyle, we're gonna have to call on you a little bit more. Your experience, if they were to, increase the channel coming down from the east side there and give a little more direct route of that water coming out of there, allow it to make a good arc out of there and head more to the south and west and then continue along, could that? You'd already said we could increase downfill problems.
Yeah, I mean, you can increase velocity, that's a different aspect, but as far as the flood affects upstream, I think if you kept the same cross-sectional area of the existing floodplain,
Yeah.
and you make that deeper and keep that same area, that'd probably do the trick. You might need to think about increased scour stuff with higher velocity, but, I think that would fix again, it's probably not gonna be a foot. It probably wouldn't require a clomar. You don't require a clomar until it's 1 foot, but nobody knows what it is until you run the numbers. You can't just, yeah, that's good, and then you impact the flood upstream and you have an issue. So that's the concern. I think if you set, deepen it, keep the same cross-sectional area, it would solve the upstream
Yeah.
concerns. It just might create other concerns on you're gonna have that fill, you're gonna have higher velocity along the bottom of that. What kind of slope did you have on that fill? 4-1?
On our back slopes there, it's probably 3-1, 4-1 on those. Well, it could be less. I'll check it out. I can't tell right now.
And if the Clomar came back adverse, there still could be corrections made before the final plat. Correct? I mean, it's not gonna,
Yeah, I mean, I guess the thing is
That's true.
with dirt work, it's like until you know, you're not gonna really do any dirt work anyway. I mean, I see what you're saying about a month, but what's a month relative to
It's
this time of year is hard.
flooding,
Yeah.
having to deal with potential flooding from now on. And I think that's why I agree, if I was a floodplain administrator, I would want something in writing too, at least proving. If it's not gonna be modeled, then you're not showing us proof that it doesn't impact by 1 foot, then we need something from FEMA.
Yeah.
So that we can go back to, if that's ever raised in the future, hey,
Yeah.
we've got this everybody said we don't need a low bars, no
Right.
problem.
And I guess my issue is we're here and the design plans are done, and we're willing to do the Clomer. So my request would be, can we get it approved contingent upon doing the Clomer? We don't start construction until we get that. We can't.
May I ask a question? I'm trying to find a solution here, if there can be one. Please.
You said don't start construction or don't start improvements.
We
Which one
won't
do you
start
mean?
construction until we get the Clomer. City doesn't want clearing and grading and, well, grading and construction started until we
Okay.
get the Clomer in place.
Okay.
We just don't want to come back in 3 or 4 months
Thank
down
you.
the road when everything's done except for the FEMA Clomer. We've already started.
Here's my question, and I'm just asking. There's no material disagreement over 20 of the lots, is that right? It's these last 4 or whatever on the bottom that are the problem. Is that true?
There are a couple on the top there that might be impacted on the top
Okay,
right
so
corner.
there's
but
7.
they're-
The fill, yeah, the fill associated with all those easternmost lots, the fill that, now some of them may not be, it's very minimal, but all those lots have fill that are over the existing.
Well, hang on now. The eastern lots, it doesn't. That's just the detention pond that's out in the flood, out
Okay,
towards.
the fill bank detention pond.
What I was trying to figure out is if there's an area of broad agreement on 90% of this, couldn't we approve the 90% and wait on the other 10 until we were comfortable? I don't know. Just,
Are you saying approve it without the mods showing keeping the same cross-sectional floodplain area?
Doesn't seem like it's ready.
Do we need to make those modifications as FEMA doesn't require? If they say you're good, doesn't affect our model whatsoever.
Not if FEMA says that, yeah, if you have a letter from FEMA,
Well,
I just don't see how you're gonna get that amount.
well, we'll see. We'll know. I mean, if we submit it, I mean, you may be correct. We may have to go back and send them all. We'll have to hire FTN, bring them in and map the whole
But yeah, if
basin.
you can get that, it's gonna save you a lot of effort and time. It's probably, I would agree.
That's a
It's
lot of
probably
money.
not needed, I just don't think FEMA's gonna say,
Yeah.
yeah, we'll guarantee that this is not gonna.
We'll see.
affect the
I mean, I know they model it. I know FEMA models it, so we'll see. And I know they model floodway. We've had that.
all right, Commissioners, seems like to me we've talked about this about as much as we can tonight with the information we have.
Let's,
How do y'all wish to act?
Let's make it conditional on favorable Clomar for adjustments, to allow adjustments based on Clomar results.
Sure.
Okay?
So if I understand correctly, they're not allowed to do any construction. James isn't gonna allow any construction until he has all of that in his hands, so,
They
Yeah.
cannot start anything until I issue the development permit.
okay.
That's right.
So,
That permit is contingent upon FEMA's answer to this.
I would feel comfortable with that, because basically we're saving them the time that they would have to wait to come to the next meeting, so.
Someone wish to make a motion to that effect?
On that north side, y'all, before we do it, on the north side of that development, where it's barely shaded, I watch over and over that flooding, and we're focusing on the south end of this, the south and the eastern drainage ditches. North end, floods all the time, just as well.
That-
South College is
That's the water that's overtopping from the east and flowing west, right? Toward Wynwood?
coming from Applewood, going out the east to get in that main drainage. Eventually, if there's no beaver dams, we'll go through the
It's-
railroad bridge.
It's crossing over Wynwood Drive?
It has.
Okay, well, it's not coming from this area then, that's coming from a different source. If it's crossing Wynwood Drive, this is all on the east side of Wynwood Drive.
Correct. Yeah, but even y'all admitted, some of this comes off of Center Street,
Yeah, it comes,
coming down, it comes off the, out behind the
I don't think the water that you're talking about is gonna add to our concern. That water's gonna end up in that 220 base flood plain there, which
When
is,
there's water, water's in one house, is water.
Right.
I don't care where it's at. I like using common sense, y'all. Not a FEMA or one, sorry guys, engineers.
well, and just for a general comment, we are running out of buildable land here in the city. So we're gonna have to continue to make adjustments and provisions and allowances, but we're gonna have to come up with better ways. And our engineers are gonna have to be pushed a little bit harder. Developmental engineers are gonna have to be pushed a little harder to mitigate that as we continue to add water to the existing problem by hard surface and roofs and all that. So,
It's a challenge. It's gonna get worse, not better.
yeah, and until we can get, you know, building, moving west of us there with more land and more utilities going that way, serviced by the city, they're gonna continue to push the ground that 30 years ago was not buildable.
Right.
So,
You know, one other thing, I don't know if you guys are aware, but, you know, the railroad company, they redone a couple of big bridges down there, along Linwood. It's all different than what it used to be.
Yeah.
I'm not saying, you know, everything's good, because everything's got to be maintained. Like I say, you can make the prettiest ditch, but if you don't maintain it, you know.
Well said.
Thank y'all.
Thank you for your comments, sir. Commissioners, how do we want to act on this in one way or another?
I'm okay with it with the provision of the Clomar, if that's the direction you guys want to go with it. You okay?
I feel like that's, yeah, I mean, that's
That's
really.
that's fair. I think that's our best option.
All right. Move to adopt the preliminary plat conditional on a favorable Clomar report with any required revisions based on that report.
Proper motions. Is there a second?
Second.
Multiple seconds. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Challenge,
Yes, sir.
the challenge there, every time you bring one of these into us, you're gonna have to, we're gonna have to look at the flooding.
Hey, I get it.
And this area is not as bad as it used to be. It did make some improvements over the last 10 years, but that's a concern.
It's definitely worse.
I believe that's all the items that we had received on our agenda. March meeting.
Yeah.
My proposal would be, what we've done historically is just move it to the next week, but if y'all want to do something different than that,
I'm okay with the 10th.
Same for me.
it'd be like is that the 10th?
Yeah.
Tenth of what, March?
Yeah,
March,
10th at 6 o'clock.
Move to, I make a motion to move the meeting to March 10th.
Second.
Proper motion, multiple seconds. All in favor say aye.
I think we've already got that provision from previous that we had automatically move it a week, but that's okay.
So just, anything comes up, new items or whatever, our meeting will be the 10th next month.
Okay.
Anything else?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Proper motion. Second.
Mr.
Thought I was
Webb,
gonna have to there for a minute.
Mr. Webb, you keep up with us pretty good on that one?
Yeah. Doing good.
He didn't even ask who was who.
Welcome.